Mario, I am found. The Unseelie are coming. I must escape. The fate of all worlds depends on it.
Queen, the artifacts are activating. They are all found. Ellen Trekken's return is imminent.
You must keep your friends safe too. They will be awakening into the horrors that will be coming. They must understand they're bound to the artifacts too. A failsafe from my seals.
Queen? No. Queen!
What's wrong?
The Queen! The Queen's in trouble.
The return is now. The universe is ours. The Master shall be pleased.
Everyone, are you okay? Don't worry, I hear your distress. We're in this together. You must look inside yourselves and find the connection with your areas and the artifacts that were sealed there.
You think your puny minds are a match for mine? Even from the void I tormented you. And now I shall have the Green Pulse power all to myself.
I don't think we've been properly introduced. I'm George Franklin Wilkins III, a former Shadow Brigade member, New Order of Light watchdog, and your worst nightmare.
Clever using the Dream Priest's thoughts to communicate with me. Too bad your team wasn't that clever.
What do you mean? If anything happened to my team, you'll regret it.
Don't let them get to you. This one is still just a pawn of the shadows, using their time distortions against us. Nothing's over in the moment because they're using their future sight against us. If we win, none of what they say is true.
Of course. Just a lying bag of tricks. You met your match then. I've been impossible to beat ever since I was winning Fantasy Football League championships before the shadows wrecked my world.
Enough. I think I'll start with your weak mates. One by one, they will all be destroyed.
Everyone, now! You must find your powers now!
Too late.
Safe. Protect the Queen. Protect the...
Welcome to the quest for the Green Ball, Òrdugh Truaillidh. We have a big slate of games coming up in this penultimate week of our regular season. Playoff berths, divisional titles, all on the line, and a potential for having a wild Week 14 if the results go a certain way. All three divisions could be clinched this week, but two of those races have a very good possibility to go down to the final week in a win a win to take it all scenario, which would be nuts. We've never really had that before without having to worry about tiebreakers. So we'll talk about that too a little later. Of course, the last two teams on the outside could see their playoff dreams come to an end, and this includes the defending champion Elite Mother Tuckers, reeling after 3 straight losses. Second time this season with the 3 straight losses. But when you look at all of the games, only one has the fire to be our next as 8-4 Green Acres travels to the forests of Fial to take on 7-5 Risky Business in the wetlands of our own division. A Green Acres win equals a division title. A Risky Business win means they take over first place in the division. How insane is that? And lo and behold, Risky Business enters with just a 53% chance to win in what is expected to be a very close match. Risky Business still needs a tight end in his lineup and only has Pat Fryermuth on his bench. Gerald Everett has the edge over Fryermuth, giving Green Acres a little advantage. Quarterback is huge as well, with CJ Stroud doing very well for Green Acres, but will be in a matchup against a resurgent Denver team that is suddenly tough to score on and tough to beat. Kyler Murray has a tough matchup against the Pittsburgh pass rush, but he can make plays with his legs to try and counteract that. Christian McCaffrey versus Tyreek Hill is one of those star matchups where positions don't matter. It's just the fact that these guys could go off at any time. Joe Mixon with his situation in Cincinnati and a backup quarterback, and Ramondre Stevenson on a bad Patriots offense means both of those backs could be touchdown dependent in this one. Terry McLaurin could be in a shootout against Miami and be scary again, but Tyler Lockett has the tough matchup against Dallas. Jahmyr Gibbs will look to bounce back in the flex against a tough New Orleans team. Brandon Cooks and Garrett Wilson are most likely touchdown dependent for Green Acres. Jason Myers might actually do well against Dallas as he may be forced to kick 50-yard field goals early in the game. Dustin Hopkins could also get plenty of field goal opportunities against the Rams. Green Acres will be looking for Atlanta's defense to shut down the Jets like every other team has and seems to do every single week. Two players stand out to me in this close matchup, though. For Green Acres, I look at running back Kyron Williams. Williams has been a touchdown machine this season. He's got 9 scores in 7 games. He has multiple touchdowns in 4 of those 7 games, where he had 2. He scored over 20 points in 4 games, obviously, with those multiple TDs. He also has over 125 total yards in 3 of his last 4 games and had over 200 yards last week, including 61 yards through the air. So he's doing it kind of all for the Rams. Williams did miss 4 games with an injury and only returned last week, but he didn't miss a beat with his best game all year. Just a kind of a beast performance. But that was against Arizona, and Cleveland is next. The Browns' defense is one of the best in the league, especially with its pass rush, and they have allowed some points to running backs because of this, though. Something to keep in mind. The Browns have allowed 5 teams to rush over 100 yards against them, and they've given up 6 touchdowns on the ground, so they're not completely unstoppable when it comes to running backs. They've been good at stopping running backs on checkdowns or screen passes, maybe some short down plays, but they've allowed just 26 yards per game through the air as well to running backs, just 1 touchdown pass to running backs. So if you're going to hurt the Browns with a running back, it's going to be rushing the ball. Odds are that the Rams will have to run the ball a lot to help against the pass rush, but they don't necessarily do that. They do throw it more often. So that means Williams will have to make the most of his opportunities. The game will probably be close, and the Rams might have to lead with how bad the Browns' offense is, which does help. If Williams continues to score touchdowns and can pick up yards as well this week, that could be the boost that really is a difference in a close game. He's getting 20 points, 30 points. But if Williams is neutralized by the Browns, that could mean a chance for Risky Business to really take a hold of the division if he's held to single digits. Host Risky Business as a player of his own, and this is the first time we're going to feature a defense here. Yes, the Cowboys defense. How do you not? It's been the number one defense in our league. Spectacular. 164 points. The Ravens are the next with a 148. One of the big reasons, 7 total touchdowns as a team. And second-year quarterback DaRon Bland is the main reason for the surge. The man's been insane. He has 7 interceptions and has returned a mind-boggling 5 of those picks, 4 touchdowns. The odds are clearly low for this, and I would say this would be expected to stop, but I also said that 3 pick sixes ago, so it doesn't seem to be. Bland has pick sixes in the last 2 games and 3 of his last 4. And he's third on the team with 48 total tackles, so he's kind of doing it all. Linebacker Micah Parsons is another stud on the team, 11.5 sacks and 40 total tackles. Those 2 players alone are responsible for 68 points on this defense in our fantasy league. And who do they get to play this week? A banged-up Seattle squad. Geno Smith, not 100%. Kenneth Walker's been out. Geno Smith, 12 TDs and 8 interceptions this season, not his best stuff, especially with his injuries. Zach Charbonnet, who's taking the place of Walker, he's only averaging 3.2 yards per carry so far since Walker's injury. Those numbers could be more opportunities for sacks and turnovers by this Dallas defense. If that happens, risky business could once again get 15 or more points from them, which is always a boost for any of us when our defenses are doing that well. But if Seattle somehow puts something together and limits turnovers, this defense could also throw up single-digit points. I mean, there's a reason why those 2 guys are doing everything. It's not like the whole team is making plays. Green Acres has a dream matchup against the Jets, so it could be a big thing. And there's a reason the computers had this one so close. I think it should be one of our best matchups of the season, especially with what's on the line. But there is a lot on the line in our other matchups as well. In the other Wetlands of Rome battle, the 6-6 defending champion Elite Mother Tuggers travel to take on the 4-8 Siamese Dreamcats at the Gardens of Leodin in a must-win situation. The defending champs have a 55.1% chance to win, so the computers see this one as actually close. Brock Purdy versus Justin Herbert, Tony Pollard versus Travis Etienne, CeeDee Lamb versus A.J. Brown, and the Rams defense versus the Eagles defense are areas to watch in this one. Moving on to the flatlands of Scal, 8-4 Bandidos del Rio hosts my 4-8 Gashkia Slews, the deserts of Mehlu, with a chance to claim the division title. Bandidos comes in with a 56.5% chance to win. Patrick Mahomes versus Jared Goff, Raheem Mostert and DeAndre Swift versus Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson, Devontae Smith versus Mike Evans, and George Kittle versus Travis Kelce are big spots in this one. Rashee Rice versus Josh Downs is also interesting as well. 3-9 Loki Lebowski Thor hosts 7-5 the Clash at Demon Head at the pastures of Fardora. The Clash at Demon Head are still alive for the division title and still have a lot of work to do to make the playoffs. Lebowski Thor needs a kicker, and the Clash at Demon Head comes in with a 64.4% chance to win because of that. Tua Tagovailoa versus Jalen Hurts, Isaiah Pacheco versus Devin Singletary, Calvin Ridley versus Jamar Chase, and the Steelers versus the Jets defense are places to watch. Miles Sanders versus Chuba Hubbard is one that could be about who scores the touchdown. Lastly, in the Peaks of Alk, 5-7 Air Jordan hosts first place 8-4 the Stellar Bitches at the Caves of Brone Diomir. The Stellar Bitches have a shot to not only clinch a playoff berth for the first time since 2020, but can also claim their first career division title with some other help. The Stellar Bitches have moves to make here, though. Based on the bench, Air Jordan has a 59.6% chance to win. Dak Prescott, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, and Michael Pittman look to lead Air Jordan. The Bitches have Bijan Robinson in a tough matchup, but also have Rashad White, Keenan Allen, and Dalton Schultz. Finally, 8-4 Remember the Titans host the 5-7 multiple scoregasms of the GOFTA of the Highlands. Remember the Titans is still fighting to stay alive for a playoff berth and to still have a chance at a division title. The multiple scoregasms need a win and get some help just to stay alive. Remember the Titans comes in with a 61.8% chance to win. Russell Wilson versus Trevor Lawrence, David Montgomery versus Kareem Hunt, Jalen Waddle versus Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Zach Moss versus Nico Collins are key areas here. The Jaguars versus 49ers defense is another interesting spot. These matchups should all be very good, and the end result could set up a very interesting Week 14, even if all the playoff berths are clinched. We're just going to run through some of the obvious scenarios here. Bandidos del Rio can clinch the Flatlands of Skell with a win or a loss by the Clash at Demon Head because of tiebreakers. A win or a loss by the elite Mother Tuckers clinches a playoff berth regardless. Green Acres can clinch the Wetlands of Arone with a win and can clinch a playoff berth with a loss by the elite Mother Tuckers or losses by the Clash at Demon Head and Remember the Titans. The Stellar Bitches can clinch the Peaks of Ulk with a win and a Remember the Titans loss. They can clinch a playoff berth with a win or a loss by the elite Mother Tuckers. Risky Business can clinch a playoff berth with a win and an elite Mother Tuckers loss. Remember the Titans can clinch a playoff berth with a win and a loss by the elite Mother Tuckers or the Clash at Demon Head. The Clash at Demon Head can clinch a playoff berth with a win and a loss by Risky Business or the elite Mother Tuckers. And then talking about the teams that are fighting to stay alive, the elite Mother Tuckers can be eliminated this week with a loss and a win by Remember the Titans. The multiple Scoregasms can be eliminated with a loss or a win by Remember the Titans. Only a few of these scenarios are win and get in, and a lot actually depends on what the elite Mother Tuckers do, so the defending champs are still playing mind games with us all. So yes, a lot of eyes will be on multiple matchups, and this is when everything gets fun for those in those races, and even for those on the outside looking in. It is quite chaotic. And that's the show for the week! Hope you enjoyed it! We'll have another Sunday bonus for you this week with Game of the Week winners from weeks 1 through 8 taking a quiz to see which character they are from the show The League, if you remember that hilarious show. Before you go, check out the updated power rankings. Until next time, salut.